Escape has arrived at Silicon Beach at the start of the archipelago.
Just be aware that from now on, from here up, there will be crocodiles. And they can literally just drop straight down there and they can stay there for an hour and a half. You can't just go anywhere, jump over the side and start swimming.
I mean, when they handed me that little packet and they're like, all right, we're gonna have the safety briefing, and I just kind of browsing over it first, and I'm like, they're serious. There are big crocs out here, and we have to really take this into precaution.
The plan for day one is to build a rail in the water to slide on the dropping tide against this incredible white sand backdrop.
So is he coming? Sparks, you coming? We're just going in there to check it out.
Yeah, you can also see there's no croc tracks, no turtle marks. You know within the last 6 hours there hasn't been one here because of the tide.
So you always know crocs around. Croc tracks.
I think we're gonna have to move those rails a lot with the tide coming back up.
The water's gone out so far that basically we'd have to carry it, you know, half a kilometre before we're even in the water, and then by then the tide's going to be coming back. Guess that's part of the trip. Northern tides, right?
The dramatic tidal change has taken the guys by surprise, and they won't ride today. These massive tides are a wonder of nature and have been studied extensively.
The Kimberley tides are certainly the largest in Australia. They're the third largest in the world. The tide actually travels as a wave up the West Australia coast quite rapidly until it gets to about Exmouth Gulf, and then it starts to encounter a broad, shallow continental shelf. As it does so, the tidal wave actually shoals like a breaking wave and increases in height. So all up, the Kimberley region has the most extensive area of high tides in the world.
Hey, I think Mother Nature ruined our party.
We lost so much water within an hour and a half, 2 hours. The tides fluctuate so much and so fast that you have to be on it every second to get things done.
Well, tide's on our side this time, huh?
Silicon Beach, round 2. And the tide should be coming in here within the next hour or so, and we'll drag the rails down here and get jibby with it.
We've got like a good crew, and it's not just a good crew, it's probably like the most experienced crew you could muster up.
Got Parks Bonifay, pretty much one of the biggest names in wakeboarding. He's done more things first than anybody else in this industry. For us to have Josh Sanders, he's an Aussie boy. He's been riding for years and always had a big impact in the sport. Brian Grubb, a pioneer of wake skating. You know, wake skating wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for him.
Grew up with JD, and you know, he's really turned into not only a good person, but I mean, he really shreds.
We've got a really solid crew, and I think we're making the best of it and doing a really cool show.
Heading up a canyon for an early morning ride, the guys soon spot their first crocodile, the telltale tracks leading straight into the water.
Josh, stay out of that area. We've just seen a croc in there.
To be out here in the perfect paradise, these waters where no one's ever ridden before, I mean, we're going to get it done whether the crocs are there or not, so we just got to respect them and stand a little distance.
Still keen to ride, the guys head further into the canyon.
I know why you want to see it move, passing through me.
Every scenario, if you take the right safety precautions, you have a pickup ski, if you scope the area, if you play your cards right, I think you can get the shots that you want.
So I fly in my
Most other sports you can go and do on your own, so you don't even need anyone else, so you can kind of, without knowing it, can have that sort of attitude. And wakeboarding, if you're like that, you'll never get good at it because no one will ever take you wakeboarding.
You know, we've had a lot of different careers and stuff too, but we've all, you know, kind of grown up riding together and always like wanted to, you know, do this. So it's cool that we can, you know, still do these trips and travel together and push the sport in the direction that we think it needs to go.
sand and sneakers, touch your hair, it's with you, always, always, till the end.
Kimberley is an ancient land said to be over 240 million years old. It is also one of the earliest inhabited areas of Australia, with the first arrivals coming here over 40,000 years ago.
Raft Point's basically an Aboriginal site where they, basically some of the first settlers found some Aboriginals on rafts, so it's got a little bit of sentimental value to us being on boats all the time.
Knowing people have like lived here and like survived here like on these islands is just like really mind-boggling, really, because it's just barren out here. And just to hear like the history about this place and how old it is, it's hard to even wrap your head around that, really, you know.
Just to get out here and session in front of the big red rocks, it's used to be spiritual to the Aboriginals and it's feeling pretty spiritual to us right now.
Some guys just ride and like it really like expresses their personality. That's truly what style is. It's like letting your personality come through in the way that you want to wakeboard. Frontside big spin, wake to wake. Right now it's about 5:50 in the morning. JD's first hit the water. It's kind of hard at this early in the morning to get your body going to do some tricks. I don't want to sound like I'm bitching, but pretty sore. Dealing with knee injuries is a common thing in wakeboarding, but when mine got infected, I was just off the water a lot longer than I expected. For me to be on the water my entire life and just not being able to even know if I was going to be able to wakeboard again was kind of punches you in the face. And believe me, I love to go out there and do the next best trick, but in retrospect, like, it's all about staying on the water long term for me and being able to ride, because that's all I want to do. I can't imagine not being on the water.
It's really, really cool just to be out on a boat, you know, in the middle of nowhere. I mean, we haven't seen anybody since, you know, we pretty much left.
Sometimes I feel
And they wind it fairly quick.
long way from home.
I'm not exactly sure where we are right now. Do you guys know?
Long way from home. A long way from home.
The Horizontal Falls is coming up for the guys, and the person who knows these waters better than anyone else is Adrian Thomas, a guide who lives and works in the area, spending months at a time in a remote boathouse.
Hey, they know what you're doing.
There he is, Josh. He's like...
A few people have actually died here, just trying to go through it too big. It's not like a normal rapid, which is just fast water going over shallow rocks. The currents are the same all the way down. On a big day, it can move anywhere up to 1 million litres through about a second.
The Horizontal Falls is a shallow rock shelf that separates two large bays on the Kimberley coast. The course of water rises so rapidly in the outer bay, the water cascades across this shallow shelf as a waterfall from the ocean into the inner bay. Their spectacular setting in the deep gorges of the Kimberley and the tremendous turbulence they produce definitely make it one of the greatest natural wonders in the world.
The falls is definitely going to be an awesome experience. It's going to be something that I don't really know what to expect. The concerns of the water is just obviously getting drowned in, you know? No one wants to drown.
Let's see this kind of shit in Florida, I'll tell you that. I don't think anyone sees this anywhere. It's kind of hard to envision it going any much stronger than that.
I say we bomb through. I know it's a little rough right now, but...
Yeah, I'll be on the other side, so if he falls, he's going to get shot out the back.
Josh is the first one to ride through the gap.
Okay, this is the tandem. We're just going to shoot through the first gap.
You definitely don't want to get stuck against those rocks because they're pretty sharp, huh?
Grubb is next to tackle the waters.
When it was low tide, you can see these overhanging cliffs. As the tide started to come up, those caverns and caves kind of disappeared, which is exactly where you would go if you got pulled under.
When the tide really gets to its highest point, I mean, it's just draining through there, and there's so many undercurrents.
After you get through the rapids, there's boils coming up that are 200-300 feet away that could still swirl you and pull you under. So I would say you have probably maybe about a 30% chance of dying, which I still don't really like those odds.
Park's Bonifay is up next as the waters start to increase.
swirls around, so your board doesn't really know what to do, nor does a jet ski. Jet ski can kind of suck up bubbles and get swirled around, so you never really have a consistent pool, which makes it all that much more hairy.
It was definitely sketchy, and you can tell it's getting, like, by the minute, there's just more and more and more water rushing through that.
JD Webb is the last to take on the falls. The water is really starting to move through now.
I don't think I went down the other side of the falls after that one. It was pretty turbulent and didn't really want to be a part of that anymore.
The Horizontal Falls definitely threw us all back on our heels and kind of just made us go, whoa.
I think I was out of my element of being able to save someone at that stage, and I think they called it quits at a good time before someone really got injured. It was like, just a phenomenon that I think was, more powerful than what any of us expected.
I don't think anyone will ever do it again, and to be a part of that was pretty amazing.
So now we're on the front of the Great Escape right now, and we got a 5-hour journey to Montgomery Reef.
It's basically like this big reef that's underwater on high tide, and then on low tide it sinks down and all the water gushes off the reef. We're going to try and ride up the middle of it and see what else we can do with the tides.
Oh my God! It's not even the two. 20 speed.
Here probably 45 minutes ago, and the water was pretty much flush with the top. Now all of a sudden there's elevated ocean on both sides of us, and water is just ripping down. So it's happening pretty quick, and you can see it and you can definitely hear it just ripping off the reef right now.
The reef is an incredible natural wonder. So dramatically exposed due to the massive tides, it secretes its own version of a sunscreen just to survive.
Montgomery Reef is just, that phenomenon right there is just one of a kind. To see the reef just rise up out of the ocean like the last scene of The Abyss or something, it's just so surreal and so big. It's just, it still bends my mind to look at the images and realize what just happened.
He's a man with nothing to prove. See a man with no home. He's not afraid to be alone.
The reef was probably one of my favorite sessions. It blows my mind every time I think about it, just being able to ride through there.
Seen some big catamarans when we've been on other boats. I'd be like, dude, it'd be really sick to just do a high-speed whip. It's like getting a weird big boat barrel.
See a man with no shoes.
And at the end, we pulled anchor and he just dropped full throttle in the Great Escape, and the rollers that thing was throwing. Grubb was seriously standing next to a shoulder-high wave.
See a man with no home.
It's our last night together. This is it. I think this will go down as one of the all-time best wakeboarding trips we've had.
We've ridden in locations that have never even seen a wakeboard boat, let alone a wakeboarder. Really stoked to be a part of it.
Just to come here and every corner we turn around, it seems like it's just another adventure that I've never seen or even knew took place on this planet.
Best trip ever. You know, coming into it, we didn't know what to expect, but